Teona, good afternoon or good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Great to have you with us. I'm going to do a little intro here. And first off, say everybody who's joining us, thanks so much. This is episode 2 of our Elevating Extraordinary Entrepreneurs series. And in this episode, I want to introduce you to an entrepreneur who's been super successful outside of her own business, but something that I hear about regularly, and I think a lot of us hear about daily, and that is the idea of TikTok. I think there's lots of people who are curious about how this can be used as a business tool. And I've got Teona Douglas with me today. And Teona owns a company called Lux Hair, but she has been killing it on TikTok and being able to use that as an avenue to really foster her business. And so, Teona, welcome. And I was curious, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your main business. So tell us a little bit about Lux Hair.
Absolutely. Well, first off, I want to say thank you, Marty, for the opportunity. I'm super energized to be here. So Lux Air actually started last year. Unfortunately, through the great pause is what I like to call it. I was working at JPL, I was managing the salon there, Jasper Park Lodge, and they shut down the salon. So basically, I started Lux Air with the intention in mind of sustainable self-care. So that includes mind, body, and soul.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's really nice. And what do you, from a product or from a service perspective, what do you guys offer?
So both services that I offer right now are intuitive coaching. So helping people with their brands on social media, especially TikTok, as well as Lux Quartz, which is crystal jewelry, handmade crystal jewelry made by myself. As well as Lux Air itself is a extensions company. So basically, I do custom made extensions for everyone. Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic. And by the way, I should mention, I think I said it as hair, and it is air, right?
It's air.
H-E-I-R. Yes. So,
Yes.
Sorry, my mistake. As soon as I heard you say it back, I realized, oh wait, I know the word, I just didn't pronounce it properly. Just in case somebody thought maybe you had a hair salon or a studio that way, I want to be clear. And so, I guess you have 21,000 followers on TikTok now.
21.5, yes. Yeah.
So when did you get on TikTok?
I got on TikTok about 2 years now, so 2019. Initially, I started my TikTok just having fun. I used to dance competitively for 18 years, so I was just dancing and having fun. And then people started asking me different questions, and I was like, this would be amazing to elevate Lux Air. So I switched over, and it's been amazing. So
and so now, how many followers did you have? And so it was a conscious decision, though, for you to be able to make that switch. And have you seen a change from when you were doing some of the dance stuff to maybe the content focusing more to the business? Has that changed your followership or the popularity of your channel?
It did change the popularity of my channel. Absolutely. A lot of people are wondering how they can grow an organic following on TikTok. And I was like, well, I'm doing it pretty well. So I can help other people learn how to do so. And since I started changing my TikTok, that's when it actually grew exponentially. So it was a good part it was a good move on my part.
So I don't mind saying, Teona, that if for me, I'm the skeptic of this as a business tool, but I understand that you're picking up to 1,000 followers a week. And so I'm wondering, like, is it easy to grow the following on TikTok? Because I know a lot of people who have used Instagram as a platform or LinkedIn found that, there's controls now and the ability to pick up followers as easy as you might have in the past. Do you find that it's pretty easy to pick up followers on TikTok? And is there a method you use to doing that?
Absolutely, Marty. So there's a formula to TikTok. Just like Instagram has an algorithm, TikTok has an algorithm. And the more that you use TikTok is the more that the algorithm understands what you like. So it is easier to grow on TikTok just for the fact that you have to be genuine. You have to show the side of you that you may not show on Instagram.
Right.
Not to say that the side that you show on Instagram wouldn't work. It absolutely would. But people want a little bit more of the background scenes, the nitty gritty, like what you do day in, day out. So that's why these are genuine followers that, you know, they they go at bat for you too. You know, they kind of like, hey, you should come over here, you should come over here. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
So you almost get like your followers really become advocates, and they're almost pulling other traffic and other people into your stream.
Absolutely, absolutely. From Instagram to YouTube, and now I'm just kind of moving my following in different areas, just because, you know, that just makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Teona, how does it, like, I think about the evolution of Instagram, right? And they first came out and there was some element of like, you know, you really want to have polished video. And then it became like the move away from doing something in the studio to be like, no, I just want to see you more ad hoc as a real person. And then some element of like, I'd rather catch you walking down the street and give me a message. So I see that more casual, more real, the idea that, yeah, okay, I want to know what you do during the week in your business, but I also want to see maybe where you're going on the weekend or who you're out with, or, you know, really get a sense of your life. How does TikTok take that to the next extension, or how do you, like, what's that progression look like on TikTok? Just so I really understand maybe the Instagram versus TikTok as potential opportunities for you as a business person.
Absolutely. So you're familiar with with Instagram Reels, right? So that is Instagram's way of trying to pull some traffic from TikTok, because
Okay.
so many people are using TikTok now. And so if you understand how to use Instagram Reels, it's very, very similar to TikTok in the sense that people really have a really short time span, you know, within 15 to 30 seconds, make your point, whether you're doing a lesson, a really quick lesson, or, you know, debunking some myths. There's a few different topics that work really, really well on TikTok, that may not work as well, translate as well on Instagram. And it's mainly a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of understand, like the tips, tricks, hacks. With Instagram, I feel like you have to be a little bit more polished. You have to kind of, you know, show more facts, more analytic. But with TikTok, it's more showing the real authentic side of you. And we all know as entrepreneurs that, you know, no one falls in love with the product unless they fall in love with you. So
Right.
that's why TikTok works so well. And it's a little bit different than Instagram. But just like the Instagram Reels is very similar to TikTok.
What about, I had this conversation earlier this week with another business owner, and he made the comment kind of flippantly and just said, hey, listen, I'm not going on TikTok to do a bunch of funny dances to try and improve my business. And so his connection was, oh, if I do something silly or entertaining, that was the only kind of content that was going to pull things for him. And he was like, you know, I'm just not prepared to do that. I know that looking at the stuff you've posted, sometimes it is really fun, sometimes it's dance related. But how do you find that mix between, like, here's the serious side, here's really a little bit about my business, but also here's the fun me? Have you got, again, a formula or a method to balance those?
Absolutely. So I like to stick to 4 key components. First of all, you really need to hone down on your niche. Not
Okay.
necessarily what the industry is doing, but what your strength, that you're doing within the industry, and sharing that. So that's number 1, knowing your niche. Number 2 is just kind of switching it up with your personality. So like I said, some analytics about your industry or your niche, some myths that you may want to debunk about your niche, you know, and kind of just switching it up. I understand a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to dance on TikTok, which is totally fine. You actually don't need to dance on TikTok, but you do
Thank
need to
God. Okay,
capture
good.
No, you don't. But you do need to learn how to capture attention within
Right.
15 to 30 seconds and building that impulse within 15 to 30 seconds. Some ways that you can do this is like having emojis or text bubbles. So that's some way that you can keep them captivated while they're scrolling through Instagram or
Right.
sorry, TikTok.
TikTok, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, so what you're telling me though is that some of the fundamental things that you'd say in any sort of sales or advertising, that idea of like a headline or something to get people's attention, right? It kind of goes back to the AIDA principle of like get their attention, get their interest, right? Create desire, and then have some sort of action that you want people to take. There's still a little bit of that traditional thinking, even as you go through laying out content on TikTok.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And so you could just even put, bullet points. It's super, super easy as long as you know different hooks to kind of get people captivated. 5 key things that you didn't know about the beauty industry. People are gonna stop and listen. Like, what do you mean 5 key things you didn't know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to know. So there are different hooks that you can definitely use to get them captivated. That doesn't include dancing at all.
But I love that. I even like that hook got me. I'm like 5 things, and you're right. It's one of those like you're like it's quick, it's easy, but it pulls some interest. And I like that you can tie that back to if it was the beauty industry or if it was something that you bring up a lot of great points about where the content can go. Um, One of the things I wanted to ask you about, and some listeners might not know this, but this is the piece I was really interested in. I've been told you can make money on TikTok. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, Teona, tell me more about that part of TikTok.
So most of Luxair's income is from TikTok. So there's many ways that you can monetize your TikTok. There are some people that use Amazon products, and the Amazon products that they absolutely love and rave about, they make a video about it, and then they put a link in their bio. Hey, if you want to get this product,
Right.
you can go and grab that. So that's the Amazon affiliate marketing platform that you can use, and that
Okay.
works amazing on TikTok. Another way that you can make monetize your TikToks is basically working with other brands. So
Okay.
sponsorship for posts. That's another great way. When you
Right.
go on live, you can also people can give you gifts. So some people go on live and they just talk about their industry, their niche, what they offer. Um, yes, TikTok does take a percentage out of that, but those are the best key ways to monetize your TikTok.
Okay. Is there any truth to people as viewers or followers of yours being able to send you money or monetize some of it that way?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So I do lives daily, basically, and people basically donate to my channel for my valuable content. So
Okay.
it's really about valuable information. Like,
Right. And so the
yeah,
idea being that if I was like, that was an awesome nugget of information, or like you said, you debunked something that I'd always held to be true. And all of a sudden I was like, whoa, you just changed my whole paradigm there. I could potentially say, hey, I'm going to throw you a little bit of TikTok dollars. Is that sort of the way it goes?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I like this whole concept of being able to have people just throw money directly to my TikTok channel. That was the big hook for me where I was like, maybe TikTok has some value. Um, tell me a little bit about if there's a piece of content that you've used that's gotten the most reach or where you've had the most likes. Is there anything that you found was sort of just, some big winners you've had or directions you've gone where you're like, this turned out to be just great?
Absolutely. So with my intuitive coaching, I talk a lot about astrology. So there is a huge following of people that just love astrology,
Right.
astrological signs, personalities, things like that. Um, a lot of people like to read on TikTok. Uh, So there are sometimes I make videos of like my favorite book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, like what I learned about that specific book.
Right.
So people really, really like that content, how they can advance in their business or just personal.
That's I love that. Yeah, you can TikTok as a channel, much like any social media, can still point to other resources, right? And I always
Exactly.
like the idea that my experience, and tell me if it's the same for you, that the value I connect to that book or that material, if I
Mhm.
got the suggestion from you, I associate you as being that expert or that resource that I can turn to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So same thing as, I'm in the beauty industry. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. So if someone were to purchase that shampoo and they're using it, daily, they're like, Teona. They automatically just
Leona's
think
the
of
one, right?
where to get that product. So absolutely. Products association. Mhm.
Yeah, I love that. What advice would you give to small business owners that don't know how to get started on TikTok, or somebody just says, "Hey, I want to dip my toe in the water." I mean, is it the kind of thing that you can sort of do that you can ease into, or you really have to make a commitment and jump into it? And so that's one question, and the other one is other advice you give to somebody who wants to start.
To be honest, you just have to jump in.
Okay.
You really just have to jump in. Uh, the main thing is find your niche and make some videos. Like the best video ever that I've ever done is people asking me questions and me responding to them. So
Mm,
that's another thing that people absolutely love, interaction. So making a video responding to their question, they love that. But if you really have nowhere, like I have nowhere, I have no content, nothing, start with questions that people ask you day in, day out, and then you can
right.
form that as a hook, and then automatically you can take that one piece of content and distribute it 9 different ways.
Right. And you must find that, I mean, I've seen this on Instagram. I can think of a guy out of Australia who's great. I mean, almost daily is posting answers to his audience's questions. But of course, that creates that element of like, oh my God, he answered, or, Tiona answered my question today. I like, oh, we're having this conversation sort of live on TikTok. So I can see that it builds credibility, helps with that following. Is there, one of my questions, Tiona, is, like when you think about your examples of Amazon, right? Where it's like, hey, here's a product I loved, or even a book. I mean, again, I could point that back to Amazon. What about somebody who says, well, we're a business and we want to get more exposure and use social, but we're kind of business to business. We're not necessarily a consumer product. Do you see a space, or is there anybody you follow on TikTok that they are in the business to business space and they are using it effectively?
Absolutely. Wow, there's so many off the top of my head. I don't know any off the top of my head, but
Sure.
absolutely. Just like once again, Instagram, how you can kind of search for different companies, or once again, if sometimes I put hashtag salon finder YYC, there
Right.
are definitely different ways for your clients to find you, or people that use those products and services business to business. There are definitely ways for you to not only like hashtag, but like I said, you could even respond to one of their questions. I've recently done that. It's something that's very, very interesting. So someone were to ask you a question, and then you can actually respond to the question with your expertise. That's another way that people kind of interchange their clients between, um, you know, other people that have the same interest. I know it's kind of like, oh, well, I don't want to step on someone's toes, but it isn't. It's just
Right.
adding value. And the person that you're commenting on, they appreciate it too, because it's something that they may not have known.
Right.
And so you're adding value in multiple ways.
Do you uh, a couple of questions about one. I want to come back to the idea of niche. Did, like, if I jump on and I say, I'm just going to start to push information out, how important is finding that niche audience versus just sort of broadcasting widely? And like you mentioned, one of the keys being a niche to even start to develop a following. Is it a real pitfall if I don't determine that niche in my audience within the broader TikTok audience first? Like, I guess, I'm wondering about niching. If somebody says, well, I don't really know who I want to talk to, so I'll talk to everybody, which is often, the classic fail of stuff. But for you, did you find, you mentioned when you figured out your niche, that in fact your following started to grow faster?
Absolutely. That's
Okay.
when my growth just literally took off. Wow, I went from 10,000 to 20,000 in about like two to 3 months.
Wow.
When I really niched down on what I wanted to talk to my audience about. So it's 100% key to find your niche. You're kind of shooting at the dark if you don't, and it'll take you way longer to find your target audience.
Okay. Teona, how much time do you spend on a daily basis, or, through a week on TikTok? And I think not only your recording time, but, the time you spend thinking about laying it out, having an idea for a post. I mean, yeah, how much of a commitment is it?
So I like to do batch content so that way because there's so many different components to my business, and I like to be ready for my clients. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. So I tend to do batch content, to be honest, and it
Okay.
works for me as a business owner. So I take my Mondays and Tuesdays, and I write down everything that I need to do for that particular week, what I want to post for that particular week. On the desktop, look for TikTok, you can actually plan your posts. So you don't
Okay.
have to be every single day just on TikTok posting. You can pre-plan it. So that's helped me tremendously. Just for batch content alone, it would take me about 6 hours.
Okay.
And then every day I go live every day. So that's about an hour and a half. I do suggest 45 minutes to an hour and a half if you're going live to talk to your audience. Anything over than that, it's kind of overkill, and people just stop listening to
Right.
you.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's not a lot within the week at all. So if you have someone else that's taking care of that, it's
Teona,
golden.
how important do you think it would be if I've got a business where I say, like so many business owners, listen, you talk about 6 hours. I don't have that kind of time. So I'll just get somebody else in the office, or I'll try to outsource our TikTok to somebody else, an agency or an individual. Uh, does it really affect the success of your TikTok channel if you're trying to get somebody else to represent you as a business? Like, I guess I'm going to that authenticity of like, oh yeah, that's the owner, Marty, and I want to hear from him. And he's sort of the face or the personality of it. Is it possible to be much like some of the other social where it's like I've got somebody else doing the posts for me? Can you do
Mhm.
that sort of thing on TikTok effectively?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Of course, you're going to be making the videos yourself. But other than that, absolutely. There are some TikTok channels that actually don't have their face on their channel at all. And they
Mm.
still get following, they still get views. They're still able to put links in their bios and still monetize their TikTok. So, absolutely.
Have you seen with your followers and your following, I mean, is it international? Have you been targeted where you're like, no, I want to be local? And I assume, like any platform, that if you can pick and choose where your audience is going to be or how you do that.
Absolutely. So I have following all over the world. Most of my following, if I look at my analytics, are in the States and in Canada.
Okay.
And then I have some in Brazil and New Zealand. So absolutely. It like the growth, not only the growth on TikTok, but the reach on TikTok is amazing.
Right. Now, this is a planted question that I'm not asking, but I now realize my team. And they've said, Teona, as an entrepreneur and business coach, do you think I should be on TikTok?
Everyone should be on TikTok. If
Okay,
you're
let's just skip over that.
everyone should be on TikTok. Like everyone.
Okay, that's terrific. One of the things I think is important is that in all of your answers, you touch on like niching, about layout, about content, I mean, one of the things I recognize is that as much as, and I appreciate, you've got to jump in, right? You can't be like, oh, I posted something and I haven't left it for 2 weeks. That you really have to make a commitment to it.
Absolutely.
How fast and how important is it to maybe get some expertise to help you launch that versus trying to do it on your own?
Just like anything, it will definitely take you longer if you're trying to do it on your own. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, they don't have a lot of time, so might as well
Right.
grab like a course or someone that's specialized in TikTok in order to help you. It would just help the process, but absolutely you can learn it on your own, just like anything else.
Right. Do you and I guess thinking about that curve, I've had people say, the time commitment to this, like I'm not sure it's worth it. Or one of the things is just the fear of sort of being in front of the camera or being out and a face. Is there I guess is there an approach you take to just getting comfortable doing stuff and being on camera? Was there a
Well,
time where you were a little bit maybe more shy, and that how'd you overcome that to get really comfortable?
which is very interesting, right? Okay, so I'm extremely introverted and I'm extremely shy.
Okay.
So I had to force myself to learn how to do it because I was just so intrigued of how so many people can monetize their social media and they're making so much money. I'm like, how do you do that? And
Right.
so I got comfortable being uncomfortable, basically, and just
Mm.
threw myself in there. So that's the best way to learn, to be honest, when it comes to TikTok.
And I was thinking about social media, that oftentimes a well orchestrated social channel or program has some element of, you thinking about the content, there's themes through all of that. Like when you build this out, do you have, I guess, what I'd call a TikTok plan for the business? And it's sort of a strategy that you're executing to be able to say, okay, we're now at 20,000 followers. Here's what I want to focus on as a message. Here's what I'm going to do to pick up the next 10. Like, almost like a business plan for TikTok. Does it get that extreme, or do you use something like that?
It can get that extreme. However, I love to simplify things as much
Okay,
as possible.
good.
So I like ABCs, one, two, three is a specific system. And
Yeah.
then I just tweak the system. So start doing things that like, okay, I want to try this. I saw, someone in my niche do this type of video. Let me try and see if this will change my analytics. So there are some things that you can dip and dive in, but there is a specific strategic plan. And the first plan is to get you to 1,000 followers because that
Okay.
is when you can actually go live and talk to your
Okay.
audience.
So that's that first threshold that really gives you some additional options.
Absolutely.
Okay. Um, I have to ask this. It just popped in my head, but have you ever had something that you worked on and it really crashed and burned? You were like, that did not get the uptake. That did not work as well as I thought it was going to.
Um, yes, there's a few things that I have. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I tend to be very long-winded. So I was making videos that were about because now you can make 3 minute videos for 3 minutes long on
Right.
TikTok. And it doesn't necessarily work for me. It may work for other people. But that definitely crash and burn.
Mhm.
I stick to 15 to 30 seconds, max a
Right.
minute to keep
Okay.
the attention. Yeah.
I bring it up because I think in any social platform, but particularly something newer like TikTok, jumping into it, you've got to be prepared to sort of laugh at yourself and appreciate, like, well, that didn't go, and not let that discourage you. I think, like anything in business, persistence in TikTok is an important characteristic, right?
100%. Like water off a duck's back, absolutely. Like take it with take it with a grain of salt. And I the other thing that I love about TikTok is that you can mess up and people
Hmm.
won't judge you because
Right.
everyone's just having fun mainly on TikTok, and then
Yeah.
adding a little sprinkle of hacks or information. So you shouldn't take yourself too seriously when it comes to TikTok.
I love that. That there's some personality and fun, and you can bring that. It's a way to almost bring some of that fun and personality and represent your business and you as an individual. Where, if you're on LinkedIn, it's obviously, and I think a lot more serious platform, or it's for serious business people, and TikTok really allows you to share more of who you are.
Absolutely.
Now, I wanted to mention that you do a lot of coaching now with owners, people, individuals, and business owners on using TikTok for business. And you have a special offer. And so, would you tell me a little bit more about the offer that you'd make?
So I'm super energized to talk about this because I have been working on this for a while, and it specifically, like, a lot of people keep asking me with how do I figure out my niche? How do I figure out what works for me? And so I just developed a step-by-step process to figure out your niche, what works for you, as well as your goals. Perfect. We have that out of the way. Now let's turn everything that you do into content. So
Mm,
I did do basically I call it a TikTok starter kit where
okay.
you can find your niche, implement your niche in super quick, easy ways, just a step-by-step system, basically.
Okay, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
think then it makes it approachable, right? I always think that the toughest part is those first few steps. And if you're able to guide somebody through those first few steps, it just builds that confidence quickly to be like, okay, I can do this. I think that floundering piece, it always reminds me of somebody walking into a big gym for the first time where there's equipment everywhere and you watch them look around and they have no idea where to start. But if you could kind of take their hand and guide them along for the first few exercises or piece of equipment, it transforms their experience. So I imagine it's the same. You walk people through that starter kit, and it really allows them to get moving and get traction faster.
I love that analogy, Marty, because just like how you go to the gym and it's probably to take you 2 to 3 weeks to kind of get warmed up to being in the gym again,
Right,
but then you
right,
see all these people around you and you're like, okay, I'm inspired. I can do this.
right.
I got 3 weeks under my belt, and that's exactly what it is.
Okay, that's fantastic. Tiona, if business owners are interested in that, or need help, or they even just have more questions that we haven't addressed about TikTok, um, how do they reach out to you? How do they find you?
So, you can find my TikTok, Teona Beauty.
Thank you.
Teona Beauty is my TikTok. I also am on Instagram, Teona Hair, and on YouTube, Teona Douglas.
Okay,
So those are the platforms that I use the most. And within all of those platforms, I do have a link in my bio for that starter kit right at the top there. So
okay,
it
nice.
is today that I'm launching it with
Oh,
you,
beautiful.
Marty. So I'm
All right.
excited.
Yeah, that's great. Tiona, thank you so much because I appreciate that you are already an expert in a place where so many people in general have questions and are a little unsure. And certainly from a business standpoint, I think you've demonstrated how this can be a tool that you can use. Um, Worst case, to at least something to try and see what kind of traction you can get for your business, right? So
Exactly.
I want to say thank you for joining me today. This has been really terrific. I'm actually considering TikTok, yeah, and I appreciate that anybody has more questions to reach out to Tiona. Thank you for everybody who's joined in for another episode of Elevating Extraordinary Entrepreneurs. And again, Tiona, thanks so much. Have a great day.